Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Polkadot, Orchid, as well as Yearn.Finance. So if you guys are new to the channel and you want to see more cryptocurrency technical analysis, news, information, things like that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, guys. And if you're new or returning user, it helps us out a lot if you hit the like button. If you could take a second to do that, it'd be greatly appreciated. So going right into the actual information here, I'm going to start off with Polkadot. You can see Polkadot is actually up quite a bit, 13.18%, up to $5.19, right? We're seeing it test near the previous all-time highs back on September 1st of $6.84. So it is getting to be a bit bullish right there. Now, you're also going to be wondering, right, how high could Polkadot realistically go? Could we see big returns at this point? It's been showing a lot of momentum, but at the same time, too, you got 852,000 in circulating supply, almost 1 billion total dots altogether. That's a lot. Market capitalization at almost $4.5 billion already. So it's got a lot of momentum, very short amount of time, but it's also got a lot of good applications to it, and there's high demand because of its applications. So let's say you're looking for roughly a $20 Polkadot, right? We're pushing closer to the ranges of Chainlink over here. So Chainlink, you'd see its all-time high is $19.85. And because it was so close to the $20, we're just going to kind of use that as a figurehead, right? So if Polkadot was to try and say meet to the same kind of expectations of a price as that of Chainlink, you're looking around 4 times in its transition here. And that would put it at what it's right now for market cap of, instead of $4.5 billion, you're looking at roughly $16-17 billion, which would exceed that of XRP and that of Tether. Now, if you think about how XRP and Tether are kind of being used, Tether is essentially being used as a way, as a stable coin, right? As you can see right here, it's listed at the price as $1. But a lot of people have the Tether to be able to buy the different cryptocurrencies. And a lot of the talk in the cryptocurrency space right now is about Tether having been set off to the sides, billions of these dollars essentially ready to be invested. And more than likely that Tether is going to be pushed off once these assets have been purchased. So you could see Tether drop down quite a bit. So as far as for Polkadot climbing to that kind of a level, being below Ethereum, the fact that people are oftentimes starting to compare Polkadot with the competition of Ethereum, I think is very realistic. You could see potentially a 4 times return. So if you're looking at a $20 price point in the future for Polkadot, the amount of circulating supply that it has is quite a bit, but the demand is also very high. And I personally, with the application of it, in my personal opinion, I think yes, that having a $20 price point in the future is possible. Taking a look at its actual trend history here, as you can see, this was when they had the redistribution of the number of Polkadots from the old to the new. And at that point, you could see it starting to scale up. So because I have previously talked about this before, I like to kind of dive in with these things and show you guys where I had charts at previously. So you can see if how things have moved forward, have actually followed that trend, or if they've started to establish a new trend. And I do want to let you guys know too, I'm not a financial advisor, so everything I'm saying, take it with a grain of salt. Always do more research, and hopefully you take this as good entertainment, but also you get some good information out of it too. It's nice to do little disclaimers like that. So where you can see right here, it did have off of the last day, it had essentially bounced off almost the 0.5, and then the following day we did have it touch and pull back until the day had closed off of the 0.5 as well. Over here, just above the 0.382. In fact, you can actually see that with where it's at right now, it has that very top of that wick bounced just beautifully right off of that. Came right on down. So the next major zone, if it had a continuation up, would be the 0.236 region on the climb up. That put it at about a $5.86. Then to reclaim back up to the 60-cent or $6.83. It does have some possibility, but it's got a little bit of an uphill battle to push up against right here. So some good potential movement. As far as the relative strength index goes, if you take a look down here on the bottom, it's just a little bit above the median zone. So it's not quite being overbought, but it's also got itself above the 21 EMA. Unfortunately, I don't believe we have 21 days here, do we? This was back on, what day was this? Doesn't even say it down here. You're looking at like August 18th. So August 18th up to today, almost 30 days. Yeah, it's right around the 21. It's right around the 21 EMA kind of period. So the fact that it's above it right now, as far as I can tell from this chart, it looks like a good bullish sign. And we do have a little bit of an upswing taking on place here. It had some downtime, so it wasn't just completely straight up, way too overbought. It had some recovery time. You can see this accumulation that's taking place, bouncing right across here, bouncing off the 0.618. As far as the daily close go, it's actually a little bit lower here for the wicks, right around $4.10. So if it pushes back to the $4.26 range, the next level I would keep an eye on is potentially going back down to around $4.10. And then at the very bottom out right here, there would be a real big concern would be around $3.56. So that's talking about Polkadot. Let's go ahead and move on from that. Go ahead and close this out right here. We talked about the comparison with Chainlink. Next thing, let's go and talk about Yearn.Finance. So Yearn.Finance, what happened to that? That blew up. That thing hit an all-time high. When you scroll on down here on CoinMarketCap, it's so high that the all-time high was actually recorded from the previous, back on August 31st. That hasn't even updated yet. That was at $39,306. You see it's actually at $40,243. So quite a bit of an increase. If we move over here to the daily chart, you can see at one point it pushed right around 43,740. Where did it go? I just had it. $43,748 according to CoinMarketCap for its peak. So quite a bit. Something to take into consideration with this. Yes, this looks very enticing, right? Because a lot of people have been waiting for Bitcoin. Maybe you're watching this video and you haven't even heard of Yearn.Finance and you're thinking like, well, maybe I should invest in that instead of Bitcoin. The circulating supply is very low. So if there's high demand for it, it's going to be a lot easier for the price to go up. It does have good applications as far as for what the community's been talking about. It's over $1.2 billion for its market cap right now. The volume in the last 24 hours, this is pretty high. And that's one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about here. So if you take a look at it on the actual list, we scroll on down here, it's currently listed at number 21. High percentage gains. You look at it in comparison to some of the other things, Aave, or I believe that's how you pronounce it, is Aave. That's gone up quite a bit too. But Yearn.Finance pushing up to the 21 spot, doing pretty darn good there. Market capital, it is right behind Unis said Leo, and it's also pushing closer towards Neo. Next level, you got Monero, right? So it is moving up there and competing with some of the big boys as far as its total market cap goes, not just to let alone the price, but the overall amount of money that's been pumped into it for the few amount of coins that it actually is. So let's go ahead and close this one out. Take a look over here on this chart. You can see that when we reorganize this based on the volume in the last 24 hours, that being number one would be Bitcoin with $66 billion that's been moved around. Bought and sold, moved around, right? Price fluctuations up and down. That's a lot of money. Down here, it's actually placed at number 22. I did the count already for this. So although it's listed for market capitalization at 21, its actual volume in the last 24 hours puts it at 22. You can see that its total market cap at 1.2 billion is a little bit more than the actual amount of volume that it has for itself. So what is actually kind of fueling this so much in comparison to some of the other cryptocurrencies? And we're talking about right now. The applications is a different story, and that's what's been building it up to where it is previously. But let's say what is about to happen, right? That's the big key thing to take away from this. Well, guess what? It's going to be coming to Coinbase, launching on Coinbase Pro. And a lot of people feel that when something drops on Coinbase, also with some of the other major exchanges, most notably also Binance, for example, when it drops there, gets a nice little push up, starts to have a rally. New people that didn't have access to it before now have access to it. So this is actually going to be taking place on Monday, September 14th. Beginning inbound transfers of YFI to Coinbase Pro. Trading will begin on or after 9 a.m. Pacific time, Tuesday, September 15th, if liquidity conditions are met. They're actually adding a whole bunch of other stuff too. Recently, they added UMA Cello or Cello, Numeraire, Band, Compound, Maker, and Omisego. I believe that's how you also say that. So guys, please don't disregard a lot of the information that I'm sharing, please, if I'm mispronouncing some of the names of these cryptocurrencies. I do apologize if I'm not saying their name correctly. But hopefully, again, you're enjoying the information that we got going on. And again, if you guys are, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. We're really trying to push hard for that 1,000 subscribers, and it would be awesome to have you guys be a part of the community. I'm already starting to see some returning names in the comments and stuff, and it's cool to see you guys. Let me know in the comments which of these cryptocurrencies you're personally most interested in. And if I see a lot of people mentioning specifically a certain cryptocurrency, I'm much more likely to continue to do technical analysis, news, information, stuff that I might find that's kind of in the cracks that people didn't really take into consideration in future videos. So Yearn.Finance going to Coinbase, very, very bullish in that regards. $40,000 is absolutely crazy. More than double the actual all-time high price for Bitcoin at around the $20,000 range. Closing those out, let's go ahead and take a look at Orchid. I know a lot of you guys are big fans of Orchid. I'm personally a big fan of it, and just kind of see how it's been transitioning here on the daily in comparison to what we had previously on the chart. So I had mentioned before that if it broke above the top, which is the resistance, that is a good sign of a continuation. Ideally, if you have already 2 days of indications being shown. So if you want something more reliable that it's continuing on a price increase, once it's broken this top zone, wait for about 2, because it could potentially pull back in since there was time with this descending triangle or this descending wedge. And so you can see that with where we're at right now, it's just slightly up 35 cents in comparison to back here when it had closed out. It was down to 33 cents. Nothing super great to write home about, don't get me wrong, but we have seen a lot of correlation with this moving with that of Bitcoin. Bitcoin starts to be positive. We tend to see this moving up into the positive as well. Bitcoin starts to drop down a bit. We see this slightly on the negative as well. So if Bitcoin has a major push and a rally, the fact that this is now on more exchanges, which I covered on a previous video, and I've got a couple videos talking about this. This is a really interesting project, and it's a personal interest of mine. If you're curious to learn a lot more of what I've been finding on the back end, then definitely check out those videos. There's still really good information in that. But looking at this, the 21 EMA, it's still below it. Not a great sign, but it's starting to kind of get closer and closer here in those tops of the wick, trying to retest it again, right? Pulled back just a little bit on the down low here, but the 21 EMA, it's also smoothing out, so it's actually coming closer to being able to meet one another. So that's good news. If the EMA starts to flatten out or it starts to drop down, then we're even more likely to have a good parabolic run, a second big push, after this has pulled back, right? Major rally, but Bitcoin also tanked, which kind of fell in line with this. In fact, when you look at it historically, way back here when it first dropped, guess what? That's when Bitcoin was dropping. So its launch didn't really have a great space to work in when all of crypto was already being hurt in investor sentiment. They just weren't really looking for projects to invest in. So then we go ahead and take a look at this right here. Let's go ahead and start to balance this out a little bit differently, setting up a new trend pattern off of the tops right there. And you can actually see that as this is starting to move up in a different direction, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this now. And well, actually, I guess I could have used that line, but we're gonna go ahead and use this line right now. You can see as we have established a bit of a base here, right about there. It actually looks like it matches up a little bit better with this back end candle on its wick in comparison. So there's a nice little continuation that's following right along this path here. And by doing so, because of the accumulation that's taking place and the price isn't really moving much in the short term, it is basically on a constant daily looking like it's going to go one major direction or another. So it's very volatile. When you're looking at a symmetrical triangle, It could go up, it could go down. It's pretty much a 50-50 circumstance right now, guys. I'd say the big positive out of this is the fact that it's closing in towards that 21 EMA, and the EMA itself is kind of helping out. But you could take a look at the RSI down below, the relative strength index, and the fact that it's in this median zone, which if you guys have never seen this before, the dotted line up on the top means it's being overbought, and the bottom line means it's being oversold. It's right in the middle. I mean, it's just technically slightly being oversold, which, I mean, guys, I want more. If you want to drop the price down there for a little bit more, I can get some more. That'd be great. I'm looking at some really good prospects on this in the future. Game changing, life changing for me personally. And as I've said before in those other videos, it's something I think people should really look at and consider the space that it's in, what kind of application this is, a little bit of its background and history, and that there's not really much competition in this space. So its application, the fact it doesn't have much competition, and you look at where the industry space is going up, it's really promising. If it breaks above this 21 EMA, you're looking around 44 cents. Then next level, you're going to be looking at 56 cents, and just kind of continuing on there. We still have this big basis falling as it has been. If we change this for a second here, let's put on more of a micro perspective. How about that, guys? So let's go right down to the baseline here, and we set it up across that top. If we go ahead and zoom in off of this on the Fibonacci retracement, how do everything kind of line up? How does everything kind of line up here? A lot of action that's kind of taking place right around the 0.382. It looks like here, from this perspective on a short term, if we break above the 0.618, that's around 38 cents. And the next level is going to be 44 cents. And then so on, continuing on. Taking a look at Bitcoin briefly. I know you guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I keep thinking I'm going to do shorter videos on this stuff, and I don't end up doing it. But let's just take a real brief look at where Bitcoin's at. Bitcoin's slightly down. We are going to be going into Sunday, so we want to try and break above 10,500. That's the big level right now. 10,500 is identifying itself as a form of resistance. If we break off of that, then the hope is that it's going to bounce, right? So if it tries to go back down, it's going to touch 10,500 and continue up. Every time it tries to test further bottoms, it has a stronger chance of continuing up, depending on what people are doing with supply and demand. And as it is right now, a lot of the purchases are going over the counter. And so because of that, a lot of people want cheaper prices. A lot of people want it to fill the CME gaps. But because it's not actually got a lot of Bitcoin that's available on the exchange, when people do sell it on the exchange, there's so many buy orders ready to go that it just pushes it right back to the same level. So we're in a very fickle position. A lot of people don't want to buy it at higher prices because they expect it to go lower. And so what they're willing to spend is lower, but the people that are willing to actually sell it for lower, it's just all gone and it goes right back to the same level. So here, pretty soon, we're going to see some sort of deviation, and we should see it push one direction or another. It's in that consolidated space. So it's like a lot of other technical analysts are saying over on YouTube, it's hard to do some real good research on this of what direction that it's going to be going when it just constantly keeps pushing sideways. And we had this previously happen right here for about 2 months. The good news is that when that happened, boom, it became very bullish. On the 21 EMA, guess what? It's below it. But hey, if it climbs up, if the 21 EMA starts to flatten out and it crosses above it, just like how it did right here, good indicator, we could see that big explosive move. I don't know, as I've drawn right here, and I've talked about this in the past, if we might see the EMA kind of do this double top action, which has happened before back with the, you can take a look over here, happened back with the $20,000, which is like a dead cat bounce, and then happened also with the $14,000. The state of the economy, we're looking at possible lockdowns yet again. The coronavirus is moving into a flu season, so a lot of people that aren't doing the social distancing and stuff like they should, if that causes the economies to become even more reclusive, businesses, unemployment rates, all this kind of stuff, it can just continue to be a major pullback on the investment side for things. You need to get economic activity moving on. People need to be able to make money so that they can spend money, right? You're looking at good opportunities here right now. If they go into another lockdown and they need money, they're going to sell assets. And one of the assets that they have is going to be Bitcoin. So the people that are still able to buy it, right, there's a good chance that they might be able to buy it at the cheaper prices. A lot of the whales have been accumulating. At some point, though, when are they going to say enough is enough when they don't see that it's really being adopted by the regular people? So it's going to take a little bit of balancing right now. I'd still kind of keep an eye out on everything. But for Sunday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, keep your eyes open. At that time, you want to see if it's above 10,500 to 10,000 or below 10,500. If it's below, then we're increasing the odds, the probability that it's going to go down. And that's what this all is. It's about what are the odds. You prepare yourself for both ends, but you're leaning more towards one direction or another. You're trying to prepare yourself both ends, and then kind of hedging your risks on which direction it actually goes, especially because you can't keep an eye on the market all the time, right? So hopefully, guys, this video was helpful for you. Again, if you're new to the channel, do not forget to hit subscribe. Please, I would love for you to guys be a part of this community. Drop a comment down below, even if you guys want to say hi. I'm kind of curious, honestly, as part of like a social experiment, just to see if we get a lot more comments as comparison to how some of these other people are getting a lot of likes, if that could have a huge impact in our discoverability. So, thank you guys for the likes. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Dang, man, 21 minutes again. What am I doing?